From service to strength, from questions to choice, guidance you trust, her vet voice.
Hello, and welcome to Her Vet Voice. We are back here again to talk about some happenings with AI with the VA. So, is AI actually analyzing your medical information? And we are going to get into it. There's an article by Task and Purpose that I want you guys to review with me, and we're going to get into it. So, not to prolong the video, let's get into it. So, the National AI Institute and the Office and the Chief of Technology Officer have partnered to issue this joint information bulletin on generative AI at the VA. This bulletin is intended to provide the VA's current guidance on public generative AI services, a summary of currently known risks, and pointers to learn more about the responsible use of generative AI. So, what is generative AI and how is it used? The tools collectively referred as generative AI and large language models are systems that can rapidly create synthetic text, images, source codes, and other information forms of media. These outputs can be realistic or stylized based on customizable prompts provided by the user, meaning the provider can put these prompts together, customize them so that they can get the information they need. LLM are a form of deep learning and underpin chat GPTs and other natural languages processing technologies currently in the news. When used in some narrowly defined applications, generative AI tools excel at tasks such as producing human readable summarizations of large amounts of text, generating computer source codes, or suggest code completions, or quickly transforming text from one to the other. What are the generative AI tasks? While there are a wide range of interest in the benefits of generative AI models, the technology introduced risks known and unknown, consequences that can have a significantly negative impact on the privacy and safety of veterans. Major risks include misinformation, meaning the output from the tool, like ChatGPT, may contain errors or fabricated information. Bias and discrimination, the manner of training the LLMs introduces and amplified biases in the training data. Threats to data privacy and security control, and provenance of data and queries are lost once submitted to public generative AI services. Then there's abuse and fraud, which is the guardrails and safety in common generative AI tools can be used to bypass to allow intentional misuse of the model output and violations of responsible guidelines. What is the VA's current guidance for generative AI technologies? No web based, publicly available generative AI services have been approved to be used with VA sensitive data. Examples of these include ChatGPT, GPT-4, Google Bars, Anthropic Claude, Microsoft News Bing Search. VA follows existing federal requirements and processes to ensure that VA data is protected when users enter information into an unapproved web based tool. The VA loses control of the data. Some public LLM web services have terms of service that explicitly allow them to use the data entered into the tool for other purposes. No personal identifiable information, meaning PII, protected health information, which is PHI, or VA sensitive data should be entered in any of these unapproved services. The VA sensitive data includes financial, budgetary, research, quality, assurance, confidential, commercial, critical infrastructure, and investigatory and law enforcement information. Where possible, limit the sharing and saving of data in unapproved services. VA staff should carefully evaluate the output of any LLM tools for accuracy before the output in the VA work product. LLMs are known to generate inaccurate information that sounds plausibly true and VA staff are responsible for the accuracy of their work product. What is the VA doing today to assess the value of the generative AI? NAII and OCTO form a partnership to closely track and communicate with one another on updates in generative AI technologies and risks across government and in the industry. The VA Office of Information Technology is coordinating carefully scoped low risk generative AI pilot projects. For example, the OCTO is exploring if how generative AI models can improve reliability and trustworthiness of chatbot responses to veteran questions on VA services and benefits. Due to privacy and security concerns of LLMs, all evaluation processes are internal to the VA and under very controlled environments. Another example is an internal pilot for GitHub Copilot, an AI peer programmer that offers code suggestions. In parallel, the VA Chief AI Officer and National Artificial Intelligence Institute Director, in coordination with the VA Data of Governments Council Working Group AIWG, are currently developing trustworthy AI implementation guidance for the VA AI system owners, including generative AI. So, here are some tips for assessing generative AI technologies. In the meantime, here are some steps that you can take to help the VA assess and use these technologies in a very responsible manner. Purpose. Consider the purpose of any decision to use generative AI technologies. Safety. Understand the limits of generative AI model accuracy. Security. As in other situations, do not share VA sensitive information or PII or PHI. Fairness and equity. VA policies and the federal requirements regarding trustworthy AI include the VA Principal Ethic Framework for access and use of veteran data. Okay, transparency and explainability. Generative AI models do not provide explanations of how their product produce their output to avoid violating transparency rules, laws, and policies. Exercise extreme caution when using generative models as to support higher risk scenarios and understand when the use of AI tools need to be disclosed. Also, accountability and monitoring. This is very important. VA personnel do not abdicate accountability for actions, decisions, or outcome informed or product are produced by generative AI tools. At this stage, action influenced by the generative tool should be safeguarded with full human oversight. Where to go for more information? You can go to join the AI at VA community, where you can get information, collaborations, and reach out about sharing AI within the VA. The reason why I'm bringing this to the forefront is veterans need to pay attention when they go to a provider and the provider is using the AI. Make sure that when the provider is using AI, that your information that you are given to the provider, that it is correct. For example, make sure that everything that you talk about in your appointment, that it is what is in the note, okay? Because sometimes when you're using different chat bots or whatever the case may be, sometimes it might not pick up exactly what you have said, and it will cause an issue. So pay attention to what is in your medical records, patient information, and so forth, because we want to make sure that providers are not using it for like medical information and patient updates. It cannot be used for that because the VA has not approved it. So let's get into the task and purpose article here that they had, okay? Let me share my screen here. Okay, so let's get into it. It says, the VA watchdog issues a warning on AI use by medical staff. Two AI chat tools, including Microsoft Copilot, are in use at the VA, but have not reviewed by patient safety officers. And this article is through Task and Purpose. A watchdog inside the Department of Veteran Affairs issues an urgent advisory Thursday over AI chat tools currently used in the VA by healthcare providers, citing potential patient risks. Doctors aren't using AI to diagnose the patients, but the inspector general found problems could potentially arise in some cases when doctors use artificial intelligence to analyze medical information and update patient record. The bulletins say the system can be vulnerable to producing misinformation, privacy violations, and bias, and that the system had been put in place without review by the VA own patient safety experts. When reaching out for comment about the advisory, Peter Kasperich, which is a spokesperson for the department, said that the VA clinicians only use AI as a support tool, and the decision about patient care are always made by the appropriate VA staff. Dr. Matthew Miller, the former executive director for VA suicide prevention, told Task and Purpose that the memo was obviously urgent. This is an official communication from the OIG recommending to stop the press of the AI tools under review based upon perceived patient safety concerns, Miller said. Specifically, the OIG has come across info within their review that indicates inappropriate process-oriented safeguards may not be in place. Dr. David Sulkin, who served as a VA secretary in 2017 and 18, has now does technology consulting for healthcare companies, said he doesn't think the report should be seen as an argument for the VA to stop or slow down what it's doing. I actually think that it's important that veterans know that the VA has the best and most capable technologies for them to get their care. So I don't think that you will want this to be a reason why VA stays away from artificial intelligence, he said. But I do think that it's appropriate reports suggest that there's more work to be done here to assure technologies are being used appropriately and we maintain patient safety as highest priority for the veterans. Two chatbots, but little oversight. The advisory was released as a preliminary result adversary memorandum, the one that I just went over with you, is only 2 pages long and does not include specific cases where patient safety was put at risk. According to the memo, VA health providers can now access 2 AI chat style systems for use with patient care: VA GPT and Microsoft Copilot Chat, the tools, which are both large language models or LLM style chat systems, are intended to help simplify and reduce spent time on documenting patient care. Doctors and medical providers enter patients' clinical information into chat tool, which can be copied into veterans' health electronic records and can be used to use support in medical decision making. But the IG cited resources that found that AI system can introduce errors or omit correct data in somewhere between 1% and 3% of patients using medical data. Federal investigators state that in the event that generative AI tools result in incorrect and omitted data, it may affect diagnosis and treatment decisions. This is referencing a May 2025 study on the risk of LLMs used for medical documentation. The study was done by researchers with Tortoise AI, an AI assistant tool used by clinicians and guides in St. Thomas NHS Trust, a founder under the UK's National Health Services. According to the research, the LLM used for summarizing medical documents can cause errors referred as hallucinations, creating information that was not part of the original data, or completely omitting information from the original user's input. Errors in clinical documentation generation can lead to inaccurate recording and communication of facts. Inaccuracies in the document summarization task can introduce misleading details into transcribed conversations or summaries, potentially delaying diagnosis and causing unnecessary patient anxiety, the researcher wrote. The goal is to reduce burnout. The upside, researchers found that the AI might help clinicians who spend a great amount of time on paperwork, which raises the cognitive load on doctors and can lead to burnout. Other research have noted similar benefits for AI use for giving providers that time they can spend with patients, as well as using AI tools to translate complex medical languages into more accessible instruction for patients. VA GPT, which was released by the agency as a generative AI pilot tool, had nearly 100,000 users in September of 2025 and was estimated to save them 2 to 3 hours per week. Through interviews, the IG found that the VA did not work with the agency's National Center for Patient Safety before fielding these AI chat tools, nor does it have a formal mechanism in place to identify or fix risks that comes with using the generative AI tools. Task and purpose inquiries to the patient first center was not immediately returned. Not having process preludes a feedback loop and means to detect patterns that could improve the safety and quality of AI chat tools used in the clinical setting, the advisory said. James McCormick, which is the executive director of the Government Affairs for Vietnam Veterans of America, said their group has not received complaints or problems regarding AI resources with the VA from their members. However, if issues have come up that could put members at risk, we certainly support a deeper dive into these tools for corrective action and improvements to ensure only the best quality and care and service from our veterans, McCormick says. So, this is why I wanted to have this conversation, because I always tell veterans to make sure when you are seeing your provider to go back and read your note at the end of your visit to make sure that it is annotated correctly the way how it was discussed in your visit. So let me know in the comments, what do you guys think about AI analyzing your medical information or your patient's information? And how do you feel going forth with the VA using AI? And what are your thoughts? Don't forget to hit the like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching Her Vet Voice, and I will definitely see you around soon.
You're not alone, you got a voice. Stand strong, stay informed.